what you want to do is you want to keep your burn rate, so the costs that you have on a monthly level, as low as possible, because it increases the chances of you having success down the road, right? So you try to minimize the resources that go out because it gives you a longer time frame to try potentially different things until you have success. Having success means testing out the market, getting feedbacks, maybe not being successful with the first version of the product, but then iterating, getting the feedback, and really understanding what is important to the market that you're addressing to and the job that you want to do better than the alternatives that are out there that are being used by your customer group at the moment. There's two ways of looking at it, or there's, two philosophies behind it. There's one philosophy that says, I'd rather invest my time in finding capital, which then allows me to go all in and to be much faster, which has the advantage, of course, that if potentially there's competition cropping up in the market, you will be either faster or at least as fast as them in building up, in getting traction, in getting market share, and in getting your product out, and also in significantly multiplying the iterations you can do because you have more money at your disposal. The second way of going at it is a typical lean startup approach where you bootstrap, where you basically try to not build a product at all until you really have hit the nerve, until you have validated it all. And so to minimize the cash flow, the ideal approach would be to bootstrap it, which means to go to lean startup approach and basically to think about how can I ideally delay anything that is product related, so building the product to as late as possible. So what does that mean is the master discipline is to sell something that doesn't exist yet. How do you do that? You gather market feedback, you do surveys, and then when you believe, based on the market feedback, that you found the problems that you're solving and you're convinced that the job that you're doing is X times better, meaning it is meaningful, it's so significant that people will actually do it, then what you can do is you can make, for example, a super lean landing page, meaning a very simple website that explains all the benefits of your product that will get people to notice, to be aware of what you're doing, to get them to sign up, for example, to a mailing list, so that you gather a list of contacts that are exactly the customer group, that are ideally the early adopters because they have the highest pain and the highest urgency to get this problem solved. And then once you have reason to believe that, there's need in the market is big enough because I have enough people that want this, then you have two great advantages. One is you have a very good justification to actually go and build a product because you say, I'm not just jumping off a cliff and hoping that while I'm falling, eventually the parachute will open up, but you know that this will actually work out. So you have reason to build the product. And then you can decide, do I have enough resources myself to build it? Or do I want to use this great argument of now a customer base, of first traction, of first showing of interest, to at the same time approach investors, which is the ideal case, which usually is not there. And so you can do those two things. You will be able to convince investors much more easily because you can prove to them that there's a need. And in parallel, you can develop the product. And so basically you have a market validation or pre-market validation without having spent virtually any money. This is something that you can do yourself without hiring any people, any co-founders, spending any money on freelancers or agencies. And you can save all that money for product and for the time that you will actually need to go and talk to investors, which also takes time because you need to commit, you need to do meetings, you potentially need to travel. So you save your money for product development and for talking to investors. That's how you minimize the burn rate, the cash going out, until you successfully go into the market and sell the product by solving people's problems.